Here's my review of The Adam Project, which is streaming exclusively on Netflix. So I got up early this morning to be able to watch this movie so I could get this review up. And I was pretty excited to see this film. I saw the trailer a couple of weeks ago and thought it looked like a fantastic film and a throwback to the 80s. And so I'm going to talk about this movie today, and I'm going to talk about what I really liked and what I didn't like. So, first of all, this movie was directed by Shawn Levy, and Shawn Levy has done a lot of interesting films in the past, like Cheaper by the Dozen, Real Steel, the Night at the Museum series, and he's actually directed some of the Stranger Things episodes. So, this guy knows how to direct, and he likes to do these family-friendly type of films. Now, this movie was kind of billed as a throwback to Star Wars, not Return of the Jedi, but Star Wars. It's a throwback to E.T. and stuff like The Last Starfighter. And so this is interesting. First, let's talk about the cast here. The cast is pretty interesting. So Ryan Reynolds is definitely the star of the movie. You have Jennifer Garner, who plays his mom, Mark Ruffalo, who plays his dad, Zoe Saldana, I'm not going to tell you who she plays. You'll find that out in the film. And also we have Catherine Keener, who plays the villain, and she plays a fantastic villain in this movie. And then I don't know if this guy's a newcomer, this little kid who plays Adam, the younger Adam in the movie. His name is Walker Scobell. Now, I've never seen Walker before. He did a fantastic job in this movie, and I think we will be seeing him in more stuff in the future. Now, the one thing I did not like, so let me get through what I didn't like about this movie. There isn't much. The one thing I didn't like is they showed too much in the trailers. The trailers did its job. I mean, the trailer definitely did its job to get people to watch, but it showed too much. I really wish some of the surprises that they showed in the trailer would have been surprises on the first watch. Now, here's the good news. This is a movie I will watch definitely more than once. It was actually a very fun movie. And surprisingly, what really worked was the emotion. I teared up more than once during this movie. And that is something I was not expecting. They really crafted the story in a way that you're going to feel for these characters and it is going to get emotional, which surprised me. But that doesn't mean it's not a lighthearted family movie. This is something the whole family could enjoy. They all did great in their parts. And the basic storyline here, and I don't want to give very much away because, like I said, I think the trailers did their job. And I would encourage people to go watch this movie. If you haven't seen a trailer, don't watch the trailer. Just go in and watch the film and it'll be fresh and new. But this movie details, it's a story about time travel. And I'm going to get into a little bit of a spoiler here. So if you haven't seen the trailer, you're going to want to skip forward here just a little bit. But Adam, Ryan Reynolds' character basically has to travel back in time, meets his younger self, and they kind of go on an adventure together. And it's a very interesting, well-written story. Now, the time travel thing is not explained extremely well in the film. It's not as clear-cut as something you would have seen like in Back to the Future. And it does open the door to some definitely, if you really start to think about stuff, how things could be a little convoluted. But the story is incredible, and the story really isn't about time travel. This is very much a story about family. And it was really well done, pretty freaking emotional, and that surprised the crap out of me. That is not what I was expecting. Now, what is this movie a throwback to? Well, it's a throwback to a bunch of 80s films. The biggest one for me, there's definitely a straight-up scene that is ripped directly out of Iron Eagle, which is one of my favorite 80s films. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I absolutely love that movie, and there's definitely a scene that is directly ripped out of that movie with the music and everything. So you've got Iron Eagle, you've got Terminator 2, you've got The Last Starfighter, Return of the Jedi, E.T., Back to the Future. Like, they jam a lot of nostalgia into this movie. And that's definitely what the filmmakers were going for here. The studio and the filmmakers were trying to hit that nostalgia button, and they hit it pretty well. Did they knock it out of the park, though? Not necessarily. What was good is this wasn't like a direct ripoff of those films. You had little just sprinkles of those films in here, but this movie was definitely its own thing, and it was very competent in that category. So at the end of the day, what would I give this movie? Well, I actually really enjoyed this movie, and I look forward to watching it with my family probably later today. I am going to watch it again, and I'm going to enjoy the crap out of it. So at the end of the day, this movie, for me, gets a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a fun film. It's got great action. It's got incredible emotion. It's really well done. And I think I think this movie is going to get talked about. Is it an instant classic that is going to be talked about forever? No, I don't think so. And I also think this is a one-off film. I don't see them making a sequel to it. But we'll see what they decide to do in the future, and we'll see what kind of views and, what kind of viewership it gets and how people receive the film. But I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it. Though there was one thing I really didn't like in the film and the dialogue. Hollywood can't help themselves talking about climate change and the environment, and there's a little bit of that in the film, which I thought was misplaced. It didn't even need to be mentioned. Hollywood can't help themselves in that regard, though, so that is in the film. But other than that, this movie was pretty well put together, so I really enjoyed it. All right, if you guys have seen the movie, what did you think? Give me your thoughts. Did it remind you of any other 80s films that I didn't mention? I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this film. All right, we'll see you guys on the next video.